there, I'm Dr. Francesca Zampollo, and as you know, I talk about food design. In this video, I want to talk to you about a concept that I call the 4 food design pillars, which I believe are going to be very useful for you to understand food design as a whole, most importantly, to design anything that has to do with food and around food. Before we do that, of course, if this is your first time on my channel and this is the first time you approach food design, then I would encourage you to have a look at the online School of Food Design at onlineschooloffooddesign.org, where you will see all my books and my food design thinking methodology and different courses. Some are paid and some are free, so you can start from wherever you want. Having said that, the 4 food design pillars, let's go into it. When we think of food designing, of designing food or anything around eating, what are the aspects of knowledge we should consider? What are the areas we should investigate and the information we should include in our project? We can think of such knowledge, such areas, as being divided into 4 main pillars that together make the whole food design discipline. These 4 pillars are food, society, technology, and of course, environment. These are the 4 areas that food designers should investigate when designing anything related to food and eating, regardless of whether they are designing a dish, an event, a food service, or a whole food system. Every dish, every product, every event, and every food service is part of a system, and each food system sits on these 4 pillars. Each food system is made of elements from these 4 pillars, and within any food design project, one should design aspects or considering aspects from each of these 4 pillars. And this is why I think this concept is so important. Visualizing these 4 pillars allows food designers, chefs, and food innovators to possibly use them as a guide in any food design project. They can be a guide to executing a more exhaustive project that branches out into a deeper research and to implementing a solution that is more deliberate, thoughtful, inclusive, sustainable, effective, forward-thinking, and possibly radical. The first of the 4 pillars has to be food. Being this food design, not fashion design or graphic design, for example, food is indeed at least 1/4 of everything food designers should think about in their projects. For example, whatever you design in the area of food and eating, you must think about the types of food needed, the source of this food, its nutritional aspects, how it interacts with all senses, what its vessel would be, whether this food is available, and how it will be available to customers. The commercial implications of acquiring this food, how it has been or should be produced, how it has been or should be distributed, how it has been or should be prepared, and how it will be consumed, what type of cuisine it represents, issues of food safety, as well as considerations on diets and allergies. When designing anything that has to do with food, you food designers must consider at least a few of these aspects. The more of these you consider, the richer the food design project will be. The second pillar is society. It is likely that the food element of your project, as well as the service in which it is given to customers, and the overall system in which it sits, will impact in various ways individuals, communities, and society. For this reason, you food designers should consider issues related to class, gender and sexuality, values and beliefs, needs, behaviors and interactions, ethical relations. Food is identity, so it can have an impact on ethical identity. Leisure, education, health, social policy, communication, and family. The food designer will also think about issues related to money, the money people will need to acquire the product or use the service, the money needed to make this project into reality, the investments that should be asked to stakeholders, and the profit that should be made. When designing anything that has to do with food, you food designers must consider at least a few of these aspects of society. The more of these aspects you consider, the richer your food design project will be. The third pillar is technology. In other words, everything man-made that is designed or that is needed to design something. You food designers must think about materials. In this case, we should consider inorganic materials because food too in its raw form is considered a material, but food itself as a material is part of the first pillar, food. Technology for communication, hardware and softwares, nanotechnology, and then manufacturing, transportation of materials, parts and products, construction of spaces and energy consumption as, for example, fossil fuel or renewable energy. Inevitably, when designing anything that has to do with food, these aspects too will have to be considered. The more of these aspects are considered, the richer your food design project will be. And finally, the fourth pillar of food design is environment. Food designers should first of all take into account the ethical aspects related to animals and plants. This means thinking about the animals and plants that make up the food itself, but also any ethical considerations about their lives before they become food. Food designers should think about maintaining or improving biodiversity on this planet, various possible problems that the product or service will augment, or problems that the product or service diminishes, like overpopulation, deforestation, air, soil and water pollution, energy conservation, climate change, the use of natural resources, and of course, waste. The four pillars of food design are the four columns on which every food design project should stand on. Projects missing the proper understanding of these areas are projects that lack depth, refinement, and the potential of proposing radical innovation. Since you all food designers should aim very high towards radical innovation in meaning and in technology, and indeed towards sustainable solutions, these tools should be used as a map to achieve these goals. The four food design pillars can be used as a checklist in the context exploration phase, and as a trigger in the ideation phase of the food design thinking process. If you're interested in the food design thinking process, check out fooddesignthinking.org, where you will see the food design thinking methodology that I have proposed, and from there you can buy books, enroll in various courses, etc. I hope you found this video useful. I would love to hear from you in the comments below what you think. And as always, thank you for watching this video. Have a lovely day and happy food design.